December has come and gone, which means it's time to get into an absolutely incredible, huge Blu Ray haul. So let's get into it. Welcome to Silver Screen Talk. My name is Luke LaPointe. I started this channel because movies are a big part of my life, and I want to talk about them with people who care about them as much as I do. With that, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Most importantly, I want to hear you down in that comment section as we were talking about our Blu Ray hauls. What did you pick up this month? What do you like that I picked up this month? What do you think I should pick up in future months? What are you guys going to look to pick up in future months? I want to hear that all from you guys. I want to get a discussion going, because I want to know what should be on my shopping list in the next few months. And with that, let's get into this, because I have an absolutely huge haul of like 20 Blu-rays. Absolutely epic month for me. First off, we have The 40-Year-Old Virgin, one of my favorite comedy movies. Love Steve Carell, Michael Scott, all that. Love Steve Carell. I love him, like Get Smart, love it all. This is one of my favorite movies, favorite comedy movies. This is one of my favorite comedy movies from the 2000s. And it's just absolute comedy gold. You have just set up so well with an interesting story, a fun story, with a charismatic lead actor. You have a great supporting cast. You have Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen in the beginning of their careers. There's a lot to love about this movie. There's so many quotable lines, you know, especially the chest waxing scene, which is just comedy gold. And so I'm very happy I got this for Christmas. Next up, we got American Psycho. Now, this is just a bone-chilling, horrifying, fun movie to watch with what I think is one of Christian Bale's best performances. And he absolutely kills it as Patrick Bateman. You know, I think he's kind of a psycho in real life. That's from what I've read. But, you know, he's absolutely a psycho in this movie, for sure. And he is, like, just charismatic, has just great lead skill. And the plot is very interesting. You have horrifying scenes. You have violent scenes. And, you know, this isn't a movie I've watched enough. I watched it a couple times. I actually haven't watched it in a couple of years. I'm very happy to rewatch this movie. Next up, we have The Big Lebowski, one of my favorite comedy movies and one of the best comedy movies from the 90s. This is one of the best things that come out of the 90s, in my opinion. This is just like The 40-Year-Old Virgin, absolute comedy gold. Jeff Bridges as the dude. I mean, this is just my opinion, man, but oh, he is so funny. And then John Goodman, I absolutely love him in this movie. He is just so funny. And the Coen brothers have a very interesting way of directing, so it's a little bit of a quirkier comedy movie, but it is absolute comedy gold. And like I said, John Goodman has some of the funniest quotable lines of the 90s just because of this movie. Next up, we have little shaky cam. Next up, we have The Cabin in the Woods, one of my favorite horror movies, and it's just a great horror comedy movie, and it's a great love letter to horror movie fans, because it takes advantage of the horror tropes that have become so cliche and so common, you know, in the last 40 years. And it uses it very cleverly to subvert your expectations or be funny. It's just an incredible movie. Now, it's a very well-directed movie, and it knows when to balance comedy and use comedy, and it knows when to use horror. It has some horrifying imagery. It has some absolutely comedic scenes, especially down in our HQ or our scenes over in Japan. Absolutely funny, laughing my ass off. And then you have great performances. Love Chris Hemsworth in this movie. Chris Hemsworth, this is early in his career, so he still had a little bit to work out, but I think this is where he worked it out. And so, like I said, so much to love about this movie. So happy I got it. Next up, we have Casino. Scorsese film. Great film. Not as good as Goodfellas, but I still really love this. But I love films that portray gambling or casino, stuff like that, because it's something I'm very interested in as a gambler, as a sports bettor. And it's just something I've always really been interested in. You know, it's just kind of seeing the layout of stuff and the way things run. And this actually portrays that very well about how the casino is run. And I think that this is one of Scorsese's most ambitious films. It is a little long, but the performances more than make up for that. You have Robert De Niro, Sharon Stone, who is an absolute fox and is the sex symbol of the 90s. Like I said, I think I gotta pick up Basic Instinct soon. I think that's a film every guy's gotta have in their collection, right? But yeah, Sharon Stone, absolutely gorgeous in this movie. And then Joe Pesci, who is the mobster of the 90s, who really sells being a mobster. You could believe that he probably kick your ass and kill you, even though he's like 4'3". Absolutely love this movie, and I'm so happy to rewatch this. Excuse me. Next up, we have Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. This is only a movie I've seen once or twice, but I absolutely love it, and it has great, mature themes that are delivered very well. It's got Kubrick's wacky direction, which, for the violence, make it very fun performances. I don't have much to say about this movie because, like I said, I've only seen it once or twice, and that was a bit ago. But it has very interesting motifs. And I love its setting of, urban London, and this is just a movie I'm actually going to rewatch soon, Next up, we have Donnie Brasco, one of my favorite mob movies. I think this is one of the most accurate mob movies out there, and part of that is because they cut through the cliches and just the tropes of mob movies and get straight to the heart of organized crime, straight to the heart of Cosa Nostra. And this just has great performances. Johnny Depp, who I think this is what sold him as a leading man in Hollywood. And this is like one of the roles that probably got him the role as Jack Sparrow, which has defined his career for the last 15 years. You have a great performance from Al Pacino. He's absolutely incredible. And it just portrays the mob so well. In a little bit more of a brutal way, because I feel like movies like The Godfather, as great as they are, they glorify the mob a little more. This gets straight to the point. It's it's not as glorified. Yeah, they're very organized and stuff, but they're very brutal. And I think that's what this movie does really well. So, very happy I got this. Next up, we have Jaws, and this is a movie that, frankly, I'm surprised I didn't have it in my collection before, or that I'm surprised I didn't get from my collection before. This is absolutely a legendary movie, my favorite Spielberg movie, one of the greatest movies of all time. I think this is the greatest monster movie of all time. Everything about this movie is memorable and perfect and quotable. The acting from Roy Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss, Robert Shaw. They are just three guys who work off each other so well and do so well in such a combined setting once you get on the boat. And then Jaws is an absolutely memorable, the greatest movie monster of all time, and just such a horrifying movie monster who leaves you with nightmares. At least he did when I was a kid. And the scene with the dead guy in the boat always had made me jump. This is just an absolutely perfect movie. I don't have any complaints about this movie. This is one of the best movies of all time, and like I said, I cannot believe I did not have this in my collection before. Next up, we have the Kill Bill movies. I think these are very underrated movies in the Quentin Tarantino pantheon. I think these are the Quentin Tarantino movies with the best action. These were sent to me by my aunt who produced these movies. Thank you, Erica. I absolutely love these movies for the action, for the violence. And one of the trademarks of Tarantino is the over-stylized action and the overly gory violence. Someone will just get cut and all of a sudden the blood's spurting across the room. Is that anatomically possible? No. Is it possible in a Tarantino movie, and is it fun in a Tarantino movie? Absolutely. I love these movies. I love Uma Thurman. I think she's great. I think she needs to be in more movies. She has to have been over her career. One of them fell out. One of them just fell out. But like I said, love these movies. I think they're very underrated, and I'm so happy that I got these to rewatch these. With the digital codes, no less. Next up, I got Mad Max and Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, two exceptional action films. I do not have Fury Road or Mad Max 2 Thunderdome yet. I'm waiting to get those because I'm looking for some special editions, some limited editions, because those are two of my favorite action films of all time. Especially Fury Road, which I've raved about on my channel. If you haven't, check out some of my other videos because you'll probably find me raving about that movie. But love these movies. This is a great startup to the franchise, giving us Mel Gibson a very interesting post-apocalyptic world with fun action, and very interesting diving into the psyche of Max Rockenstancy. I don't even know. Rocketancy. I can't even say his last name. Mad Max. And that I love Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome because it leans into the post-apocalyptic world a little more. It gets a little goofier, a little more Hollywood, but it's still a lot of fun, and the performances are better in this movie. Tina Turner is exceptional. The kids in this movie are exceptional. Love this. Love the action. George Miller is always great with action, and he does it great in these movies. He does it great in Mad Max 2 and Mad Max Fury Road. So, happy to pick these up. Happy I got these for Christmas, and I cannot wait to get Mad Max 2 and get Mad Max Fury Road for my collection. Next up, we got Parasite. Now, this is one of the greatest movies of all time. This was a movie that absolutely surprised me. You know, I'm not a big foreign film guy, but this was recommended to me by some people, and I watched it. Absolutely loved it. Great social commentary, great performances, great twists, and great direction by Bong Joon-ho. And I think he needs to direct some more films in America. I know he directed one film in America, but I love the Korean cast. They're incredible. But I would love to see Bong Joon-ho in Hollywood and how he would do there. You know, absolutely incredible movie. Absolutely, it deserved all the Oscars it got. Deserved more. Next up, we got Pulp Fiction. One of my favorite movies. You know, one of my favorite Tarantino movies. One of the most unique films of all time. And this movie just is propelled by its performances. Whether you have Vincent Vega, John Travolta, whether you have Julius Samuel L. Jackson, Uma Thurman is wildly underrated in this movie. Not enough people talk about this woman right here in this movie because she steals the show in her limited action. She's probably one of the most tense scenes in movie history with her OD. One of the most tense scenes in movie history. Gets me every time. This is just such a unique story. The way it's told chronologically. People don't like the Gold Watch story. I mean, some people don't like the Gold Watch story. I really love it. I think it's a great addition to the film. And there's just so much to love about this film. I'm very happy I got this with the digital code. Next up, we have Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Edgar Wright is incredible. He's one of my favorite directors out there. I love the Cornetto trilogy. Love this movie. Love Baby Driver. The fact that he didn't get full creative control on Ant-Man and, you know, Marvel stepping in, he had to step down. I mean, Marvel messed up there big time because a fully led, fully creative Edgar Wright on Ant-Man would have made that movie even better. It was good, but it would have made it incredible, especially with Paul Rudd in the lead. This is just such a fun movie, and the way like Galaxy Quest is, this is a love letter to nerds. This is the live-action movie that feels the most like a comic book because it is. You know, Michael Cera fits the role so well as Scott Pilgrim. I love Mary Elizabeth Winstead. First saw her on Sky High when I was really young. That's right. If you remember Sky High, you remember Mary Elizabeth Winstead. And it's got so many great performances, very unique editing, stuff like that, and just so much to love about this movie. Next up, we have the Scream movies, 3-movie collection with some documentaries. I will be picking up Scream 4 soon because I want to complete the collection. This is probably my favorite horror franchise for the fact that it's meta, but it also maintains being a really good horror franchise. And I love Scream. I love all 4 movies. Scream revitalized the horror genre. Horror genre was going down the drain. You know, bad remakes, like, you know, you're on like the 7th Friday the 13th movie, the 6th Halloween movie, bad Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, stuff like that, and some direct-to-video stuff that was just absolute shit. And then this movie right here, Scream, revitalized it using meta so well to make the horror tropes funny and the rules, but the rules also factor into the plot really well and propel it and carry the plot. And the horror is also horrifying. The violence is also terrible, like gory. And so it balances everything so well. Same thing with Scream 2. I love Scream 2. Some people don't like it as much. I love Scream 2. You know, Scream 1 is still better, but I love Scream 2. And Scream 3 I still really like, but it's a victim of circumstance. People think it's garbage and that Wes Craven just phoned it in this movie. It's a victim of circumstance. They're developing this movie at the same time around the Columbine shooting, and some of the similar aspects of that shooting were linked to the movie. So I can't remember the whole story, but they had to change up a lot of things, and they leaned into the comedic side of Scream more, and not the horror side, you know. And so it was a little funnier, but it wasn't as good. It was subpar for sure, but I still really like it. And then Scream 4, I absolutely love. It was a lot of fun. You always had great performances. David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Neve Campbell, and then individual performances in each movie, whether it be, excuse me, whether it be someone like Matthew Lillard in Scream 1, who's just hilarious and terrifying at the same time, or Jerry O'Connell, Timothy Oliphant, Emma Roberts. Each person does so well in their individual movie, and this makes this franchise incredible. Next up, we have Seven, one of the greatest crime thrillers of all time. Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman are incredible, and then one of the greatest twists of all time with "What's in the box? What's in the box?" I mean, that just leaves you speechless each time. And then Kevin Spacey is absolutely bone-chilling as John Doe, and so this is a movie with a lot of rain as well that I absolutely love. Excuse me. Next up, we have Superbad, my favorite comedy movie of all time. If you saw my Top 10 Tuesday, my favorite comedy. This is my favorite. Jonah Hill, Michael Cera, so much to love about this movie. Next up, we have Tennant, 4K Steelbook. Look at this thing. Come on, smooch. Smooch. This is absolutely beautiful. It's my favorite film of 2020. Some people didn't like it as much because it was just confusing. But with multiple viewings, I really understood the movie. And while characters aren't as well developed in Nolan movies, there's still incredible performances. John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, Elizabeth Debicki, the Kenneth Branagh. Everyone's incredible in this movie. The action, the stylized action, the inversion action is absolutely incredible. I love this movie. I'm so happy I got this steelbook for a freaking bargain at Best Buy. And lastly, we have Us, one of the best horror movies of 2019. Jordan Peele is just an absolute master at horror right now, and he needs to make more horror movies. He's absolutely incredible, which is just crazy to think. He came from Key and Peele and Mad Magazine, to this, and this is just a great movie with great social commentary, great acting. Lupita Nyong'o steals the show. She's a goddess. She's just an incredible actress. She's one of the best actresses in the film industry today, and just a great movie with great motifs, great references, and absolutely love it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Most importantly, I want to hear you down in that comment section. What did you pick up this month? What are you going to pick up? What do you think I should pick up? What do you like that I picked up? Thank you so much, and keep on loving movies as much as I do.